Most browser automation is invisible. You click a button, something runs in the background, and you just hope it worked. Lumon does something completely different. It makes the AI agent visible. As a literal animated sprite character that moves across your web page in real time, right in front of you. Not a log file, not a loading spinner. A tiny character you can watch doing the work. That sounds like a gimmick. But by the end of this video, I think you'll see why it's actually solving a real problem, and why several developers in the HN thread called it one of the most genuinely creative AI projects they'd seen this year. So what does Lumon actually do? You load it onto any web page, and it injects a browser agent rendered as an interactive sprite character. The agent performs tasks, clicking buttons, filling forms, navigating menus, reading content, and the sprite physically moves to each element it interacts with. You watch it happen. You can see where it is, what it's touching, and roughly what it's doing at every moment. The demo on the Lumon site shows the sprite navigating a web page autonomously, pausing on elements, and completing multi-step workflows. The character itself is pixel art style, small and expressive, and the movement is smooth enough that it reads less like a debug overlay and more like something designed to be watched. You can also interact with the sprite directly. Click on it, and it responds. This two-way interaction is what separates it from something like an RPA recorder replay. The agent isn't just executing a fixed script. It's alive on the page, reacting. Here's the thing that surprised me most. When you make an AI agent visible, you immediately notice things you never would have caught in a headless run. You see it hesitate on an ambiguous element. You see it move toward the wrong button and then correct itself. That visual feedback is actually useful for debugging, not just for show. Now, what does Lumon not do? And this is where I want to be honest, because the project is early and the gap between the demo and production use is real. Lumon is not a robust automation framework. It doesn't have the reliability guarantees of Playwright or Puppeteer. If you're running hundreds of automated tasks in a pipeline, a visible sprite character adds overhead you don't need, and the error handling is nowhere near production grade yet. It also doesn't give you detailed structured output from the agent's actions. You see what it does visually, but extracting machine-readable logs or integrating this into a larger system requires work that isn't built out in the current version. The sprite interaction is charming, but it isn't a full human-in-the-loop control interface. You can click on the agent, but you can't redirect it mid-task with a natural language command or easily pause and resume complex workflows. That level of control isn't there yet, and the cross-site reliability varies. Pages with aggressive anti-bot measures or highly dynamic JavaScript frameworks will cause the agent to struggle in ways that aren't gracefully handled right now. So where does this go from here? Because I think the future application is more interesting than the current one. The most plausible near-term use case is education and explainability. Imagine a browser agent that teaches someone how to use a complex web application by literally showing them, with a visible guide character, the steps to complete a task. Not a screen recording, a live agent demonstrating in real time that you can pause and ask questions of. For QA and testing, the visible sprite model makes it dramatically easier to review what an agent actually did during a test run. Instead of reading a log, you watch a replay with visual spatial context. That's a real improvement in developer experience that teams would pay for. There's also a customer support angle, a Lumon-style agent that appears on a website and walks a confused user through a process live, interactively, without redirecting them to a help article. That's a compelling product with a real market. If the project adds voice via something like 11 Labs, the sprite could narrate its own actions out loud, which takes the explainability use case from interesting to genuinely powerful. So why does Lumon exist? The creator's insight is this: invisible automation erodes trust. When an AI agent does something you can't see, you don't know if it did it right, and you don't know how to correct it. Every chatbot, every RPA tool, every browser automation script suffers from this problem. You get an output and you have no idea what happened in between. Lumon's answer is to make the process legible, not just logged, actually visible, in the most literal sense. The sprite is not decoration. It's an interface for trust. Is it ready for production? Not yet. But the idea is sound, and the demo is genuinely fun to watch. This is the rare AI project where the creative framing isn't obscuring a weak core. The core is the creative framing, and it opens up use cases that purely technical tools can't touch. Next episode, we're covering a tool that does something similar for the data pipelines, making the invisible visible in a completely different context. If that sounds interesting, hit subscribe, because that one is going to surprise you.